think of people like Rosa Parks, people like Angela Davis, and strong people who are just willing to make things better for the whole.
Well, a classic example would be Abraham Lincoln. I think Abraham Lincoln was a phenomenal leader. I think that the time period in which he was leading was extremely difficult, and he set about creating, I think, one of the greatest changes for our country.
Well, Dr. King said that a true leader is not a searcher for consensus, he's a molder of consensus, and I really like that quote.
Leadership is a word that means multiple things to many people, and I don't think there's one way to define it.
When I think of leaders, I usually think of people who are not afraid to challenge the status quo, who are not afraid to push boundaries.
Leadership is just the ability to influence people and to influence people towards a common goal.
They are responsible, they have direct responsibility for the well-being of another person, their position, or the work itself.
To be a good leader doesn't necessarily mean one specific thing. A leader has a lot of different qualities, and they know when to jump in and make a quick decision. They know when to step back and kind of let the situation ride itself out.
Leaders pay attention, and they are considerate, and they reflect, and they can get out of the way. A lot of people are leaders just by removing themselves and letting things get done.
Part of being a leader is maintaining relationships with other leaders on campus.
Some people can lead quietly, and some people lead more boldly, so you really notice they're leading.
My definition of leadership is it's more of a service. You know, it's because you lead a group of people that are doing a lot of work, and your job is to make sure they can do their job correctly.
Another thing that I like to do is make sure that the work they do is well represented in the school, is well represented in the community. Many of us do good work, but it's not known. And I think one of the jobs of the leader is to make it known to everybody else.
It's an opportunity to provide direction to other people and to support their growth and their learning. And I think it's more important here because we are an institution of higher learning.
The feeling that I have about leadership, or my approach to leadership, really stems from a service approach, and that I guess I became more solidified, and that I felt more validated in that approach.
Well, when I think of leaders, I've always thought of these people that kind of stand firm no matter what, but in order to be an effective leader, you do have to be flexible. You have to be willing to adapt to change, even when it's uncomfortable. And I think those are the things that I've learned most. And, just understanding that everyone's not gonna necessarily buy into your ideologies right away.
I can't speak for everyone, but I've spent a lot of my life trying to improve upon my weaknesses. And what the Strengths Finder taught me was, why not build upon my strengths? And I never really thought about it that way. You always focus on your shortcomings rather than your strengths.
It was very difficult, and still is, difficult to allow others to do things that I think I can do, maybe even better. That whole pride thing maybe, but I did it for so many years. I have skill sets that I have to now change and develop new ones. So it's very stretching, and the Leadership Institute did show some of those areas that you can work on.
Because it can become very stressful at times. There was one particular session I remember very clearly. At the beginning I thought, come on, I don't need a session to learn how to relax. I know how to relax, but actually it was very fruitful to do that.
One of the things that you learn, that you get a chance to look at, and that we had a chance to look at in the GRCC Institute, was that you can't be a leader by yourself. So, So I had to enlist even my colleagues in the program and the colleagues in the English department to say, look at these questions.
I think for me, the changes I've made is I'm learning to delegate more and to use other people's strengths. I'm learning that I can't do it all myself, and it's okay to delegate to other people and to work together as a team and just really work off each other's strengths.
I feel very comfortable that I can pick up the phone and call somebody if I have a question. I feel like the relationships are more open, whereas before I would not have considered picking up the phone and calling any of these folks.
And it inspires me to realize that it's okay to ask the questions. It's okay to put out the problems that you're seeing, because that's the only way they're going to get solved anyway. But sometimes in the different positions we have here, especially for me, I didn't know if it was, you have to be able to speak up and know that it's okay, and that it continues, that there's always more you can learn about leadership and about yourself.